Thank you so much, guys. In studio this morning, we're joined by criminal defense lawyer and chair of the Law Society of South Africa's Criminal Law Committee, William Booth, to give us a status update with regards to two of the biggest criminal court cases that we have in the country at the moment, Christopher Panayiotou and Henri van Breda's trials that both resumed this week. How are you, William? So good to have you on the show.
I'm fine. Great to be back again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these two stories is what we're all been talking about. Let's quickly catch up with regards to Christopher Panayiotou. I know it's 2 years after Jade's murder, yes, and the court case is finally resumed. What are some of the key areas that the NPA has that are driving their case forward at the moment?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say driving the case, because they've got to rely on the evidence of accomplices, and that's always very difficult in any court case. And it's not the only evidence, obviously, against Panayiotou. Yeah. But when a court looks at people who are themselves involved in the crime and may gain a lot by testifying and getting some form of deal with the state, then the judge has to look at that evidence very, very cautiously. And then often you have evidence coming out that's contradictory. Yeah. In some extent, people lie to kind of minimize their role in the crime.
Of course, yeah.
So the NPA, when it deals with cases like that, similarity, you know, there are a number of other similar cases. Dewani, for example, was also based largely on the evidence of accomplices. So, you know, I think that's why the court has to be very cautious.
Absolutely.
And can cause problems with any criminal case.
I wanted to ask you this very quickly. Muhammad Armin Humphreys, who is a detective, actually went undercover and, you know, was also acted as an inmate. Yes. Was this to kind of get more information from Christopher? What does something like that actually mean? Is the case in trouble at all?
I think it is, because it's pretty much clutching at straws when you've got to send somebody into prison where an accused is to try and gather more evidence. Yeah. And I think that is a bit of an underhand operation, as it were. And again, the judge has to be very cautious when he looks at that kind of evidence. And I would say that is, you know, illegal, irregular, really, for that to take place. You might, in some instances, have a court allowing the evidence, but I think, my personal opinion is that kind of evidence should not be allowed, because it just leaves itself open to so many dangers, manipulation of evidence, and trying to get to somebody to make them say things to help your case along.
Absolutely. Well, another big case, of course, Henri van Breda, who this week pleaded not guilty to the murder of his mother and his father and his brother, and of course attempted murder on his sister. Yesterday, an in loco inspection was held at the gated estate just outside Stellenbosch. What exactly does an in loco investigation mean? Well,
that means that the court, the judge, and all the legal representatives, as well, obviously, as the NPA, police officers, will go to the scene of the crime to go and see exactly what it looks like. In many cases, they will have photographs of the scene and where things have happened. But, you know, to actually go there gives the court a much, much better picture of what took place. Now, Van Breda said there was an intruder.
Yes.
Now, this is the first time we've actually heard of this.
Really?
You know, it took about a year before they actually decided to prosecute Henri van Breda. Yeah. So now the state is saying there is no sign of an intruder, and nobody was trying to break in. So to go and have a look at what it is like at the estate, you know, can people break in? Is there security there as you drive in? Are there cameras that will pick up any kind of suspicious activity? Yeah. So it's very important to go and have a check on that, and that is exactly why the whole court, as it were, went along and to have a look at whether maybe there could have been a break-in or not.
I know another contentious issue is whether or not to allow media into the court. What would allowing media into the court, you know, do to affect the case?
Well, I think this is something that we're debating all since Oscar's case.
Yeah.
You know, where the media were allowed carte blanche, excuse the pun. Yeah. I mean, I'm to another TV program. But, you know, that could influence witnesses. You could be watching, you're the next witness, and you're watching somebody who's busy testifying. So you could be picking up things that witness is saying. That could affect your evidence. Because, I mean, witnesses are supposed to be kept separate and not know what the other witness is going to say, who goes ahead. So I think, you know, you've got to draw a line between, do you allow full media coverage, minute, second by second, or just at certain occasions where the cameras can go in and take pictures of everybody in the court, or whether every bit of evidence is blasted out there. And I think it can affect the case, can jeopardize witnesses, and it can be a strong argument that other witnesses are picking up things and maybe kind of manipulating their evidence.
Sure. Thank you so much, William,
Thank
for
you.
being here. And of course, making sure that we understand what is actually happening here. Awesome. It's so wonderful having you here. Of course, two very, very big cases happening in and around our country. And as long as we have William Booth here, I know that we'll definitely get through everything and, of course, keep our eyes on all of the finer details.